Hello. So I got a request for measurements for my trailer. So I'm going to try to do this. I think I'm going to just email and have them come by and take a look at it. But because I'm not sure how you would do this, but this is how I would be figuring out. I have actually, there's this back roller back here that kind of goes back and forth. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but I have these originally when I purchased the boat. That was a single roller. The middle one was a single roller, and in the front was a single roller, which it still is. I came in and added additional roller on each side of the center ones to hold the weight, and I just redid these bunk guides. I did a video on and changed them to 2x4s, 2x10s, and brought them in a little bit closer. So, the boat, we had issues taking it out in Florida, so it's not really perfect, but so what I have is 3 support pieces. This is a treated 2x4 that's been wrapped, and there's these little brackets that are bolted into the 2x4 that kind of like can swivel on an angle. And these brackets, what I have is this first one is it's 38 1/4 inches from the back rear support that goes across all the way to the face. So that's the inside of this cross piece is 38 1/4. So trailer is 59 1/2 inches from this outside face across to that outside face. There you go. And I have the measurement from the back of the trailer all the way up to the center line of the tires is 78 inches. I didn't measure I don't know what I did, tape measure. I didn't measure the what they are, but I'll come back to what's the center line of that. And probably should actually do that. So let me grab that. The one thing about doing a video on the fly is I thought I had everything, but I didn't. And these axles are roughly, I'm going to say about 29 1/2 inches on center, it looks like. So, and pretty much the way the shackles go is the only way they could be. I have replaced the axles, so these are brand new axles that I did about 2 years ago. So the back piece, like I said, comes back 30, the back support cross piece is 38 1/4 inches to this face. The angle comes up 18 inches on the inside, about 16 1/2 on the outside. And then I did come through, and on this one and the Ford one, this was just a U-bolt. I came through and drilled through and put a bolt through the support before I went on my Florida trip and added those. I did add some other bolts on the sides here. Center support, which is 35 1/2 inches from the face to face, and the dimension from coming up from the cross piece is 16 1/2 to 15 1/4, and the offset off the outside frame is 2 3/4 inches, and the back one, I must forget, the offset is 1 inch off the outside frame. And then coming to the front support, which is 36 3/4 inches from face to face, and the offset inside is 2 inches from the inside of the frame, and the measurements are 16 3/4 up off the frame to 17 1/2. So you can see there is a little bit of space. I probably could come back and adjust this one. This one probably could go up a little bit. You know, I've owned the boat since 2002. I did replace them, but I didn't readjust them when I replaced the bunks. I replaced the bunks and I replaced the upper supports and the bolts here, but I didn't do the verticals. And like over here, this side, well, the problem is right now the boat's kind of cocked over on one side, just because I had issues getting it out in Florida and it didn't come out really. She got out, let's put it that way. So but I probably could adjust these up a little bit. But I think it's because the boat's sitting over right now. It's not on center, and that's why it doesn't look nearly as well. See, she needs to be over to that way. And it is kind of it does have a piece here that in theory it can tilt up, but we had problems in Florida, so I'm going to be drilling this through in the fall and through bolting it, so because I've never disconnected that and let the trailer tilt ever, and taking the boat out it became an issue, so that pin bent, so I'm going to be through bolting that so no longer articulates. Trying to think of what else. Then the drop down from the outside of the frame, you can see there's not much. I'm going to say you have about, I don't know, I didn't run a board across, but it's probably drops about 3 inches in the center. The roller is about an inch and a half off the frames in the center. But really the boat needs to be, if you're either using a wood bunk, because I see a lot of compacts that just sit on a 2x12 or double 2x12s and they don't use rollers. I just stayed with rollers because that's what was on the trailer. Does it come off and go on easier because of them? I'd like to think so, but I've been replacing rollers since I've owned the trailer. It does seems like a waste of money, even though you can buy them on YouTube. I mean on Amazon pretty cheap. But the rollers were replaced before I went to Florida this year. I think I did another 3 or 4, and they were placed before we went to Florida in 2016, because that's when I rebuilt the trailer. So the only thing I didn't do is the vertical supports haven't been replaced. Axles were done. The other one things look like they have some rust on them, but I think they're strong enough. I don't think it's an issue. I pretty much travel, I go about 3 miles to put the boat in the water, unless I'm driving to Florida. So, I don't know if that's helpful. Like I said, probably really need to know what that depression is and down, but I didn't really run a bar across. And right now, if I did it, does this make it all the way across? Let's see if I can measure that. Short video is going to wind up becoming a long video. Yeah, it might be a lot farther down than I thought. No, I'm going to say it's about 3 inches down. It looks to me like it's about 3 inches. It would be to the bottom of the board. So, I don't know if that's really helpful, but in full length for the trailer, I have an extension, which is about 4 foot long, that goes into my receiver on my van that I use to put it in. This doesn't have an extended hitch. I use that, and it worked the first time I went to Florida. It's just the last time I went to Florida, the ramp was a little slimy at Penny Camp and barely got the boat out of the water because I just have an E350 van and doesn't have 4-wheel drive. So if you got a 4-wheel drive truck, that's what I put in one of these skippers with. At home on our ramp, we don't really have a problem about slipping and being slimy, but I think down in the warmer climes, you're going to have an issue with that. And you're going to need a 4x4. I'd like to add another 18 inches extension to it, but I don't see that happening in the near future. So that's my video of my trailer, and I think that's about all we have from Panache. After the storm passes in the next week, she's finally getting in the water for a little bit of sail in September in New Jersey. Looking forward to that, that's for sure. Fair winds and seas.